Well, good afternoon. Thank you for everybody who has joined our webinar today. Our topic is managing your digital transformation program using the Microsoft Project Online and Power BI platforms as a part of the Office 365 suite. We do have an upcoming webinar, the third in our series, coming up on Wednesday, August 1st from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Stop the PowerPoint madness. We're going to show you some ways to automate some of your reporting and get better data out of your Project Online system with tools like Power BI. Just so you're aware, all of the sessions we do deliver are recorded. They're all available on our Vimeo channel. If you go to www.vimeo.com, you can search for Projility, or you can go to the links that are posted here for the webinars from the last 3 years. We do make those fully available, as well as some of our training videos, as well as we'll be sending a follow-up after this session as well. Some quick introductions. Myself and my partner in crime here, Tom Henry. I am Rob Hirschman, partner with Projility. Got about 15 years of experience in the project portfolio management space, leading enterprise rollouts, working with enterprise customers, really helping them take Microsoft PPM and PPM related solutions and technologies to the next level. I'm joined by Tom Henry. Tom will be jumping in towards the end of today's session to assist with any of the questions you may pose. What we're going to ask you to do is hold your questions to the end. We are going to have some Q&A at the end. You just want to log those in the Q&A manager that's going to pop up at the end. Tom and I will do our best to answer some of your questions. So we welcome you today to our webinar. This session, again, is being recorded. Projility, if you don't know us, we are a PPM consultancy. Clients come to us when they really have three key business challenges. The first is they can't easily explain what's going on across their portfolio and within their projects. They don't often know what resources are working on what projects, and they can't get good, consistent reports and metrics out to make good project-based decisions. We've been in business for 13 years now. We're recognized experts in the PPM space. And as Gartner put it in their June 2018 Magic Quadrant report, if you're looking towards a Microsoft PPM solution, Gartner and Microsoft highly recommend leveraging certified partners to help navigate a lot of the options. It's a very powerful, great platform, but you really need to understand how the platform works based off of your processes and your environment. We do offer deployment and consulting services around Microsoft PPM, integrating Microsoft PPM into existing applications like your ERP system, reporting and Power BI analytics, as well as PMO staffing and consulting if you're looking for assistance. Secondly, we do have a set of software solutions called Hammerhead, including a PPM data warehouse, which gives you access to all of your online data in an offline environment for analytics, trending, and reporting. We have a data analysis pack for Power BI that lets you really quick start the processes using Power BI with Project Online. And finally, if you're looking to move to online from an on-premise project server solution, we do have a migration tool that will help you move that information more quickly. And finally, we do offer integrated support services such as our expert care support, PMO staffing, and training services. So if you are looking for assistance with Microsoft PPM, feel free to reach out. Let's get right down to the meat of it. Our topic today is digital transformation. So what we're going to do is we're first going to walk you through some of the core concepts behind what a digital transformation program is, some of the challenges enterprises face when implementing PPM and digital transformation together, and some of the ways you can better leverage the Microsoft Office and Project Online tools to do better reporting and tracking on your programs. We are going to jump into an interactive demonstration of the different products and show you some examples of how the tools could work. Walk you through a case study of a large enterprise in the Southeast that's actively using the solution we'll show you today to manage a very large transformation program, and finally answer any questions you may have. Let's jump right in. When we talk about digital transformation, this is really something that's been going on across the CEO and CIO community for about the past 5 or 6 years. It's really become a top priority of many executives across enterprises. And there's really 4 core pillars to digital transformation. One of those is transforming, and that means transforming your current enterprise to being a digital enterprise, to using digital technologies to really move to the next step and move the business or the organization, the operation forward. Organizations and CIOs are looking to do better collaboration, not only internally with their internal resources and project teams, but externally and collaborating with customers and partners and third-party vendors. They're looking to better embrace some of the technology that's out there and leverage it, whether it's mobile, whether it's IoT, whether it's online, whatever it is, to really move the business forward and embrace those technologies to drive business growth. And finally, it's all about, at the end of the day, growing your strategy, growing your business, realizing your maximum potential, and realizing your results. So really, digital transformation as a whole, and these programs are put in place to identify new solutions, new services for your customers, new products, new markets, ways you can transform or change your business to be much more proactive and really use digital technology to your advantage. some of the key components of a digital transformation strategy, and you may see some here that you're leveraging today. We talk about going digital. The first of those is leveraging the cloud. And obviously you're hearing cloud, cloud, cloud. Cloud is everywhere today. Being able to leverage cloud technologies, which allow you to really leverage the economies of scale of cloud providers like a Microsoft or like an Amazon or like an Oracle, really bringing solutions to market without having to stand up core infrastructure. Analytics is another core driver, and accessing all of your information to make really sound business decisions. Who are your customers? Who are your partners? What data or analytics can you trend off of that to really move the organization forward? Obviously, social media has really taken over as a communication platform, whether it's tools like Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. How do you leverage those in a digital strategy going forward to communicate with your customers, your partners, your vendors, your constituents, whoever they are? Big data and building out data lakes, data warehouses, data analytics, driving on top of that to look really across a history of information in your enterprise and maybe outside your enterprise and leverage industry trends and best practices to really make business decisions. IoT and really the device world has exploded around this. Whether you're putting sensors in digital devices you have around your campus or around your offices or in apartment buildings, wherever they are, IoT is really taking hold now, and it can be a smartwatch or a smartphone or a smart sensor that really help you really make your organization more efficient, more effective, reduce cost, and increase throughput and revenue. And finally, key to everything is security. If the data isn't secure, then none of it really matters. So having a solid, secure communications platform for communicating and collaborating and making sure all your data is safe. When we talk about going digital, these are some of the key pillars or components we look at and we hear a lot about. And in the digital transformation world, they're called pillars. So if you talk to your CIO, some of his or her pillars may be big data, IoT, business analytics, and there may be other ones that are variances off of this. But these pillars are what's going to really help you drive your organization forward. When we talk about managing a program, most of you are familiar with tools like Microsoft PPM. A program is fundamentally different than just a project. A program is a grouping of projects and related activities. It has a defined business objective, which is much different than a project where we're trying to kick out an end product. Here we're trying to realize some kind of a business benefit that has strategic impact or value to the organization. Projects are work products, but programs are really the focus or the designed outcome of the overall effort. And program management really means providing surveillance across all the efforts or projects that are within a program. So if we think about it, we have program level organization and controls, which are much different than leaving this in the hands of your project managers. Project managers typically will define start and end dates, define deliverables and milestones, have a micro view, but at a program level below that, it's really a collection of these projects. It's the ability to drive organizational process and change and have that macro view of all the projects and interrelated activities that are out there. So you almost have to think about managing this at a much higher level or a business level and an outcome level so you can make business decisions. And really what's important and critical across these is resource management, cost analysis, obviously schedule and timeline analysis, and risk management and risk analysis. These are some of the drivers for managing programs successfully, and managing digital program transformation programs fits right into that. So we can really look at the difference between projects and programs, and a lot of folks get a little bit confused with this. On the right side, we have projects, which are temporary efforts. They're defined to have specific outcomes. They're bounded by time and scope, and they're really defined to be managing a set of planned activities. A program can be permanent. Digital transformation may be something that's going to transform our organization, and it may go on for the next 10 or 15 years. So there may not be any time bounding to this at all. The outcomes could also be varied based off what the outcomes are at the time. And right now we may be focused on signing up new customers or improving constituent relationships, but in 2 or 3 years that may change. The program may still be the same, but the outcomes may be fundamentally different. We may not have specific completion dates, as I mentioned, and it really is designed to create some kind of a business outcome or a business benefit. So there are truly some differences, and you have to think about not just taking a project manager and putting them in charge of your program, but having really program management skills and processes and procedures that can help drive the organization forward. But the reality is program success rates aren't that high. If we look at the chart on the right, large program success rates, the majority of them either underperform or are canceled. In fact, as of Standish Group's report here that you'll see from 2,500 projects and programs, only 16% of those programs were deemed to be successful to realize the business outcomes. So if we can kind of move to the left of that and understand why that is, we can start to drill down and say, well, can I use different processes, train my people, and also leverage technology like Microsoft PPM to get better at those things. If we look at the main reasons why programs fail, one of those is poor organization and poor project management practices. It's kind of the blocking and tackling of delivering projects and programs. The second one of those is poorly defined objectives and metrics. If we don't know why we're doing something and we're not measuring that on an ongoing basis, we're going to have challenges, and we want that visibility and insight and control over that. Ineffective project planning at an execution level is another one at the 15%. And insufficient resources. So this should map to all the things we mentioned before. Things that need to be successful in a program, they need to be successful within the unique projects within that program. So when we start to think about it, inadequate governance and poor planning and tracking are really the two key drivers behind program success. So if we can impact those, we can drive those success rates up in our organization. If we start looking at the Microsoft platform, Project Online, it provides a lot of functionality in the portfolio and program and project management space. There's really two sides to PPM. There's the strategic portfolio management side, where we're looking at the demand coming in for new projects. And in this case, in a program, there are new project requests or new ideas that are coming in that we can capture, score, and rate, and determine, do we do them as a part of our program? So the beginning of our demo coming up, we're going to be focused on that intake and program management. We're going to understand, is there a real business case that's going to give us business value? We're going to be able to prioritize and optimize projects as it relates to the overall program, and also do things like capacity planning and portfolio reporting. So the first part of our demonstration, and the first thing we focus on with the technology, is really our strategic side on the top left. The bottom right is a lot of that day-to-day blocking and tackling of tracking schedule progress, resource management, collaboration, risk management, and project reporting and time tracking. So the Microsoft Project Online solution is a cloud-based PPM solution that brings the strategic and the tactical together, not just for projects, but for portfolios and programs as well. There are key roles in Project Online that are going to help support your digital transformation program. The first of those is for your executive or your program manager, where they can really get in and understand how the program is performing. Is it being actively managed? Are there key risks involved in it? And are they ensuring there's consistent governance and controls over the portfolio? Your project managers are going to have more interactive, collaborative tools to better manage their projects and understand how those projects relate to the overall program goals. They're going to be able to track issues and risks and roll those up to status at a higher level so executives can see what's going right and wrong on their key projects, and is there going to be an impact at a program level on the projects I have going on today. And finally, they're going to be able to collaborate with the folks on the right, the team members, to understand and share the actions needed, the next steps, the action items, issues and risks and deliverables all in one central repository, so everything's not out there on shared drives or emails. We also have an interactive role called a resource manager, and that's where people can go in that understand resource workload and capacity and demand. As we mentioned, one of the key challenges behind successful program and project management is inadequately resourced efforts. So if we can determine early in the life cycle that we have people that are overburdened or don't have enough work, or we don't have enough, actually, if we have more work than we have for resources, we can't deliver on those projects. We want to identify those bottlenecks and find out a way to overcome those by adding resources, adding time, determining what we're going to do. And finally, for the people that are doing the work, the team members on the far right, a single interface to collaborate on their projects, share information, share status, and get notifications when they need it. It's all driven through the Project Online application. So at this point, we're going to jump into our demonstration of the software. I'm just going to share my screen here. And we're going to walk through a demonstration of how the Project Online solution can be, and Power BI can be leveraged to do successful program management. Okay. So what you'll see here on your screen is I've logged into Office 365, and you'll see I have all of my typical applications, my Outlook, my OneDrive, my SharePoint, everything is here, including my Project Online application and my Power BI. And that's where all my program management information or my digital strategy programs are going to live. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Project, and it's going to take me into Project Web App. And this is the browser-based user interface where I'm going to be able to see, access, and report on all of the information on my programs. Typical Project Online called Project Web App, I can come in and put a new request in for a new project. I can even log a new idea. So let's say I've got an idea, and I've got a list of all the new ideas coming into the enterprise of the organization. I may want to log a new idea, and this at some point may map over and become a project or a sub-project within an existing program. Maybe we need to add new functionality to our iPhone app for customers. I can say, what do you think it'll cost? Just swagging it out. What are my benefits? I think there's a value here, and it can be intangible or tangible benefits. How critical is this to the current workload or the current projects? Some details on this. This will help our customers more easily order from us. And then I can say other impacted business areas, or maybe the status of this. Maybe I'll put it under review or pending, and I can save that into my idea list. So Project Online allows for the capture of different project ideas, and then I can come in as a manager and look at all the ideas that are maybe ready for review. I can score them. I can have a star rating behind them. I can understand who submitted them, and then when I'm ready, I can move them into my Project Online solution. And how I'm going to do that? I'm going to pick one of these. And I've got my new one, my iPhone. Go back to all items here. It'll show me my iPhone app here. And what I can do is I can go in, I can click items. And what I can do is I can say I want to create a potential project from this, and it's going to take on the life of that project. What's the name? It moves the information on the budget, the benefits, the criticality, the business alignment, who created it, as well as what kind of a project do I want to make this? Do I want to make it a new product? Do I want to make it a IT project, an R&D project? I can map it over into the Project Online solution and go in and create that potential project right from here. And that's going to kick off a process and a workflow. It's going to alert management that there's a new project that's out there, potentially puts it in a specific program or a portfolio, and it says congratulations, and it's brought that into it. And then I'm going to close that, and I can always report on this information to see how many projects or project ideas I have that are out there. This is called the Idea Hub that supports project ideation. Kind of putting on the hat of the executive or the program manager, I'm going to want to get in and see all the projects that are going on my program right now. So I can get in and I go to my project center, but what I really want to do is see a view of all of my digital transformation programs. So when I click on digital transformation program, you'll see a dashboard shows up. At the top, I can see a timeline of all the key projects in my program. I can highlight any milestones, dependencies, or finish dates and pull those out. So in a single glance, I have a view of all the projects in my program, or just ones that are important to me as a manager. And then when I go to the bottom, you'll see I have my program. I can see the different pillars. So all the projects that are in my program, they're aligning with cost savings. The ones that are aligning with ERP rationalization. Maybe I've got multiple ERP systems I'm trying to bring together. IT realignment and bringing my CIO and CTO shop together. Information and data security are improving our user experience. Whatever those enterprise pillars are, they can be directly mapped into the application. You can see here I've got information about the different projects. I've got the start and finish dates. And then I've got different indicators here in departments. Maybe I have some of these are being done by NPD, my IT group, organizations. But I can start to see what kind of return on investment am I getting. I have some of these that are red. Maybe I haven't realized value from them. I see I have a green, a risk rating. I can see yellow, so I can do scoring of each individual program, and then I'm going to roll that up to the enterprise or the program level in a couple of minutes. I'm also going to look at what's the impact on this from a work and a cost perspective. What's the project scope status, the risk, and the health. So right through the Project Center in 2 clicks, I can get all the information I need about projects, as well as a visual timeline of what's going on each project. If I need more information about any of these, you can see to the left I have access to the documentation. Maybe I want to see all the risks on this particular project. All I do is click on that. I'm concerned about the risks on the health assessment reporting project, and I can see vacation time, we're losing our interns, our funding sources at risk, I can see what the exposure is, and then I may want to drill into that. This is a big one. I may lose some funding, so I want more information. I can get information about who owns it, and if I'm in Office 365, I can start a conversation or look at who the owner is, understand more information about him or her, see the due date, the probability, any other information about that potential issue or risk is all in one place. I'm going to go back to my dashboard now. And again, the Project Center is a great landing page just for my digital transformation programs where I would typically see all my projects. I'm just filtering that down now, and I'm able to drill down to determine what's going right and wrong on specific projects. Or perhaps I want more information about a specific project, and I want to look at how's the schedule progressing. And now I can have different views of that project. Let's go to a summary level. And I can start to see analysis and design or development. And I can start to see where this project actually kind of goes off the rails. We do needs analysis. We're already running behind. And we go to yellow, red, and now during design, everything is off because someone logged a risk. I can take that information and surface that through some of my reporting in a little while. But it's also useful for an executive or a manager to get in and perhaps look at a milestone view. Here's all my milestones, and now I've identified the integration testing completion. That's the at-risk milestone right now. So I might want to focus on that. So 3 clicks to all the information. Or perhaps I want to look at the financial information on this project or the program as a whole. I can click on financials and start to drill into this. We've got lots of great solutions for doing more detailed financial management on your projects to look at your budget, your actual, and your forecasts. This will come up here in a second. And we can start to see capital and expenses, what our spend is going to be, what our actual is, and what our forecast is going forward. And then we can take this information and export it out to Excel or drive reporting through it. Or perhaps I want to know how this particular project aligns with our overall business strategy of new market growth, financial impact, customer satisfaction. If you're in the public sector, quality of service, safety and security, system preservation. These business drivers are unique to your enterprise or your organization. Sometimes I want to find out the health or status of the project that's been entered by the PM. They're going to capture this information in these web-based forms in Project Online, and that all drives my standard reporting on the back end. Finally, I may want to get all the data about this. What is the description? Why are we doing this project? Who owns it? What's the resource or the revenue forecast behind it? What are the benefits behind it? Any other metadata we can set up as metadata in the Project Online system. This is all going to drive our standard reporting. And then at the top level for every project, we can have a consistent workflow. We can have a workflow at a program level, but then we get down to the projects. We can see which projects are in planning, selection, management, and then we have a full history of the workflow of each one. This uses Project Online's governance processes and procedures to do that, and workflow within the tool. So there's some great ways from an executive or a program manager's perspective to get a top-level view of everything going on in the portfolio. But one of the key challenges we pointed out with successful program management is the ability to actually drill into resources and having constrained resources. How we're going to get to this information is in the Resource Center. So the Project Online solution has an enterprise resource pool. We're going to track and manage all of our resources, and we can set up different groupings or views. Maybe we have all of our engineering resources, but in this case, I want to look at all the people that are working on my transformation program. And then I want to filter that, maybe by role or by skill or by type. So maybe I want to look at type and show me all my work resources. Or show me all my financial resources, things like expenses, labor, software, and hardware. We can drill into this data in many, many different ways, or show me all the FTEs versus contractors that are working on my projects. And now I can see I've got about 85 or 90 resources that are working on my transformation program. In this case, I may want to go in and look at my capacity. So I want to see, do I have peak periods where just my resources, maybe my FTEs, are going to have more work on their program-related projects. And what I can do is get what's called a resource utilization view. So very quickly put, the orange line shows us our capacity for our pool of 11 or 12 resources, our internal resources working on the program. And then we're going to see what our workload or our future demand is. So if we're in the month of April here, we can see we've got an opportunity window where we have more people than work. But once we get into May, June, and July, we are just loaded down with work. And then towards August, September, and October, we go down. We can also add this role called a product engineer. It's called a generic resource to say, okay, if we do all the work that's currently proposed in our pipeline, what does that look like? And you can see it's going to push us way over what we can do through the rest of the year. So what that means is we have an active pipeline of potential projects that we're going to have to determine what are we going to staff. If we go down to the bottom, we have access to all that data. So now as a resource manager, I can proactively look and say, well, someone is requesting Irwin on a new project in the program. Looks like the month of May is a bad month for him. He has 176 hours of capacity. He's on a couple of maintenance projects as well as active projects today, which makes him negatively available. Likewise, Josh doesn't have availability. Michael doesn't have availability, but Patrick does. So if the CIO comes and says, hey, I need to know what can we take on in May, and what work do we have today? Do I have resources with availability? You can actually drill into the resources and also look at all the forecasted work that you haven't decided to do yet within the program and outside of the program as well. We're going to get into some reports and dashboards. We're going to let us slice and dice that too. So the Resource Center and the ability to look at resource utilization is really a great way to look at your bottlenecks, because if you don't have the people, you can't deliver on the projects, and if you can't deliver on the projects, you're not going to be able to see the value from your investment. Finally, we're going to be able to have a resource assignments view, and this is going to show us, for that subsets of resources, what are people working on. So if I want to know what Sonny's working on over the next 3 to 6 months, he's got maintenance activities, He's got a financial audit he's got to support a couple tasks on. Then he's got a customer portal he's working on. And then he's got some agile projects as well. So I can drill in and see not only the waterfall and the agile, different iterations he's working on, so I can get a full look at the entire book of work a resource has, so I can determine where the opportunity windows are. And for a resource manager, this is like gold. It gives them the data they're going to need so they can plan accordingly and schedule without over-allocating their resources. So we have a lot of great information we can glean from our projects and our resources all through the Project Online application. And what I'm showing you here is all out-of-the-box configured based off of a standard-driven configuration in your requirements. One of the other nice things is we have all these new projects that are coming into our pipeline. We may want to evaluate those. So we've got our digital transformation program. We may want to look at them in different ways. Maybe we want to look at them by schedule or scope or program. But let's go down to program views. And then within each program, what we want to do is a set of views within that. So I want to see within my digital transformation program, how many projects do I have in different life cycle phases or stages? Now I can look across all my major programs, SAP, CRM, Genesis 2, and digital transformation specifically. I can see I've got projects in definition, execution, business plan creation, and maybe management. And I can get a breakdown of what projects are in what life cycle stages so I can determine where projects are in the life cycle. Really nice. So if I want to do my portfolio management now, Project Online supports business strategy and portfolio optimization. And we're not only doing this in our IT projects, but we can potentially do it on our program. So if you look here, we have a strategy or an analysis within our portfolio called Digital Transformation Portfolio Review. Maybe we're going to sit down every quarter or every 6 months and review all the projects we have to make sure they align with our business goals and strategies. We're going to set up a portfolio called Digital Transformation Program. We're going to be able to actually look at priorities, select projects, and maybe we want to take a look at not just the active projects we have today in our program, but what are all the incoming ones? And I can see I've got different projects, 7 or 8 projects coming in, and I can drag and drop those over to start to align them with the active ones to see what can and can't we do, what should and shouldn't we do to get the best business value in our program. So it's going to allow us to do program portfolio management here too. We're going to be able to go through a process of prioritizing the investments and start to look at everything we have in that program, not just projects, but also maintenance activities. Maybe we're supporting past applications, support efforts or applications. We're going to be able to see it here and score each of these investments or projects or activities against our business value statements. How well is this project going to help us improve customer sat, employee sat? These can be our pillars, our organizational pillars in our strategic portfolio. And then we're going to be able to see what our top and bottom priority projects are within this program. From here, we can do our portfolio analysis. And this is really kind of the power in the tool. The ability to go in and say, well, to do all the projects, currently we're going to need an $8.5 million budget. This year from our CIO, we're handed down a $6.5 million budget. So we plug that number in, we click recalculate, and the tool is actually going to help us prioritize our portfolio to get the most business value, to help select projects that'll fit into that $6.5 million budget while moving projects out. You'll see it here on a chart. This is strategy against cost against value. And the bubble on the far right is the outlier. It's showing us it's very high cost, low to medium value. So we can start asking the question, why are we doing that project? Should we do it later? Is it even required, or is there a reason for it? So within the portfolio management tool, we can come in and say, well, you know what? I actually need to do that. I need to force this project in. But in order to do that, why don't we take the next version of our dashboard, and what we're going to do is we're going to move that out. And we're also going to take some of this maintenance work, and we're going to reduce the investment in that. We're going to reduce that to about $100,000. So what I can do is I can do a what if, recalculate that again, and now I'm trying to come up with a solution that says, okay, at the same budget point, forcing in the data lake project, we're moving this project out, but it says we also have to not do the reporting tool to get to that value point. It lets us do a trade-off analysis, save these trade-offs, and then compare them one against another to come up with the best strategy or the best results. So we can save this as our reduced budget transformation program FY18. And then what we can do is compare that to our initial baseline. So you can see in our reduced budget, we're moving projects in and out because our CIO said we don't have all the money, and the only option is we can't do everything if we don't have all the money or the people. So we're going to have to deselect, force in, and force out different projects, and we go from 100% value to about 82% value. It's a trade-off of doing more projects is lower value. We can play with this in different ways, and essentially we can not only do a cost analysis here, we can do a value analysis, an ROI analysis, but we can also move forward and do a resource analysis. And what the system is going to tell us is, well, based off the resource forecasts for these projects, if you look at how each project is phased in the timeline, there are certain projects here we can't staff. So we don't have staff to staff this maintenance effort, the enhancement to the existing one, and the data lake. So I know you want to do the data lake project, but we don't have enough people to do it. And you can see why here. If we kind of filter this out, you'll see all the projects are happening at about the same time with the same pool of resources. So what the solution lets us do is start to propose things. Well, what if we move the data lake into June? And what if we had the web portal in September? We can run that model again and see what the results would be, if it's even doable or possible given that scenario, and say, yeah, if I change those two things, now I can actually do the data lake. So with the same pool of resources, the system is telling us we have a solution to that problem. So we have to delay 2 projects, but we can still get them started and finished. Instead of in April, we're starting in June. And again, instead of in 1 month, we're starting in another. And again, we can save this and say digital transformation, staffing model, FY18, start data lake project later. And then just like with projects, we can compare these and understand what we've resourced, what we're going to resource, and what we haven't resourced on each of our projects. So it plays into your overall strategy of resource decision making and resource management. And finally, once we've made decisions on this, we can get reports. Should we hire people? What's our overall deficit and surplus for resources? And we can look across the program's resources to look at our FTE headcount. So we can do headcount planning by role. How many agile development leads do I need versus business analysts versus engineers? This is going to play into your resource management strategy as well. We can then commit these projects and move them forward. We're going to plan them in Microsoft Project. We're going to start actively managing them. And we're going to assign work to different team members. So from a team member's perspective, kind of putting on the team member hat, they're going to be able to go to one place, again, log into Office 365, and they're going to log into their email. So for instance, this resource gets in, and in a simple email, it lists out all the activities they have on all their projects that are due in the next 7 to 10 days. And as a team member, I'm going to be able to go in and look and say, wow, I've got a lot of work. Let me go to my tasks page. Let me provide updates to these tasks. Or my project manager who's scheduled the work out, where I can go in and say, okay, this day I did 8 hours of work, 4 hours on Tuesday. I did some maintenance work here. I did 2 hours every day this week. And what I can do is I can send these updates back along with how much time is left. So for this aligned budget, 10 hours, I can tell the project manager I need more time, or I'm actually done with this. What I can do is I can save this and then submit this back to the project manager as an update. And I'm sending those updates back, and now it's going to tell me I'm awaiting approval on those from my project manager. So that work's been scheduled in Microsoft Project. You'll hear a ding, and then the project manager is going to be able to actually go in and analyze the impact of those changes on the project and the program as a whole. Team members can also go in and look at their projects in one place, and any projects that are important to them, they can go in and very quickly go to the dashboard, understand the status and health, log in and look at documents and issues and risks, and actually go to the SharePoint site for any of these projects. This is the underlying integrated SharePoint Online technology, where a team member can go look at a summary of the project, look at any decisions, leadership action items, risks and issues, add their documentation and change control, all in one place. And this is leveraging SharePoint technology directly integrated in with Project Online. Finally, getting back to the manager, executive, or project manager, I'm going to want to log in and really get an update in the status on all my projects. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually go to my home page, and you'll see I've gotten a notification here that I've gotten updates from a team member right in Office 365. It's going to notify me that updates have come from a specific resource. So what I can do is actually log into my approvals area. I can see all of my resources that have submitted updates, and then I can go in and start to look at different projects. Who has submitted changes? Maybe it's this audit tracking, either ERP project. This update came in on aligning budget goals. I can click on that, and in one glance, I can see I'm going to need more time or a little more effort, or I haven't completed the work on time. And as a project manager, this is again like gold, where I can go, I can take a look and understand the impact on that specific activity, on the project as a whole, and then I can drill down and start to look at, well, if I accept that change, then what's the impact on my overall schedule? Now let me do some analysis here. I'm just going to go to this, scroll to my task, and now I can see by asking for additional time, you see it pushes my entire schedule out. So I may have to go back to that resource and say, I actually need you to finish this by Friday. I can't give you another 2 weeks to finish the activity, because look what the impact of that would be. So it lets you do a little bit of what-if analysis before you accept those changes. There's a nice interplay between the project manager building the schedule and the resource manager who's actually providing those updates, and the team member. And finally, reporting. Every executive wants reporting. How they're going to get to the reporting is through Power BI. So I'm just going to click on the Power BI icon here. We're going to be able to do our program level reporting. And these are some pre-built reports that we include in our PPM analytics package. You'll see here we've got a dashboard that shows us ROI and risk in project work. And we have selectors on the right. In this case, we want to look just at our digital transformation program. And when I click on that, I can see just the projects within digital transformation. The data on those, the ROI, the status, and the health. Or maybe I want to look at portfolio health. And again, I want to look at digital transformation, and I can see the 12 or 13 projects I have. And I maybe want to see the ones that are red on health and red on scope as well. So I can click on red on health, red on scope, and I see the one project that's in trouble, this emergency project. I can click and declick, or click on this one. Where am I red on scope? And that's the health assessment reporting project. So I know exactly who to pick up the phone and call on the projects that are in trouble. And finally, I can actually hop over and get some program level dashboards. So this is a dashboard that shows us our programs and our health, things like how many projects do I have, risks and issues, total budget. So again, let's click on the digital transformation project. And now we can see all the projects that are within it, the total budget, the estimates and the actuals, the risks and issues, and we can drill into this over time and look at our burn or our spend month over month and see which projects are causing the problem. Or maybe again, I want to take a strategic look at my program. What are my big projects, the ones that are kind of the big bubbles that have high risk and high cost? I want to make sure those are definitely on target because they're going to have a decided impact on my program. And we talked about risk management, managing by exception. Starting to say which of my risks here are red or yellow or green, which ones have a high probability or an impact. And the nice thing about Power BI technology is I can drill into this. For instance, maybe I've got my resource reporting here. Maybe I really like these reports and I want to put them in a centralized executive dashboard. Any data or reports, I can insert those in a dashboard. So let's say I want to put this on my CIO's transformation dashboard. I click Pin. And then all I'm going to do is go to my dashboard. And now you'll see I have an interactive dashboard with all the data from all of my reports all in one place. And I can very quickly see the budget variance, financials over time, signed work by resource, cost and risk, project health. It's given me a snapshot or a snippet look into each of these key things. So if I really want to drill down and understand more information, give me this project health. It takes me right to the underlying reports. Power BI is a great enabling technology that lets you get access to this data, create these reports for executives and managers, allow them to do self-service and drill down and get their own dashboards and views. And that's using Power BI, hitting data from either Project Online or your own PPM data warehouse. And the nice thing is your executives can do self-service. They can drill into the data on the project. And once I click on that, it takes me right back into Project Online, right to the specific project. Now I have all the data, the details, everything is all in one place. It's fully linked together. A central hub and repository to make sure projects and programs are being effectively communicated, tracked, and reporting. So you get the planning done properly, you're deciding on the right projects, and you're delivering and reporting on those in an effective, efficient way. So that's a bit of an overview about how Project Online and Power BI can help support some of your requirements in these areas. Some of the tools for success here that we mentioned. The first one of those is Project Online, which is Microsoft's PPM or web-based PPM suite, which includes Microsoft Project, Project Online, as well as the Project Online professional licenses we'll talk about. Power BI is that BI and analytics tool set. And the third tool here is Hammerhead. And this is a Projility unique tool that has a couple of different components to it. There is a PPM data warehouse that'll synchronize all of your Project Online data offline for analytics, trending, and reporting. A lot of organizations want access to that data in near real time, so we can schedule the synchronization. It's also going to pull information from your Idea Hub or your SharePoint Ideas list or the financial app we showed you in there for reporting as well. So it's going to give you better fidelity and access and better performance around reporting using Power BI as the front end of that. Just walking you through a quick case study. Last year we actually worked with the Crown Plaza program, which was going through a major transformation, a digital transformation, part of the IHG organization. It was a $200 million multi-year program. It was made up of 40 projects across 4 different pillars. There were over 100 people or resources working across the different teams. What they did is they had no centralized repository or way to do a lot of the things we talked about today, so they decided to leverage Project Online and the Hammerhead technology we discussed to really be a game changer for them. What it did is help enable increased collaboration for their teams, to clearly articulate the case for change and communicate that through the project lifecycle and throughout the entire program. It really provides them with insight and reporting across the program. It enables the enterprise above the program to refine and evolve their strategies as they start to see the results and start to insert projects in near real time. And finally, it also freed up the executive, the sponsor, the VP of the PMO, from the nuts and bolts of the change here. He can now focus on driving change, not focusing on gathering information, putting it in spreadsheets, looking at people's project schedules, to really maximize and focus on strategic impact, to let a program manager or PMO do what they're really designed to do, is drive business change. They're leveraging this solution for overall lifecycle management across this program, and they've got a framework in place that goes from beginning to end. They have the case for change, where in the solution they capture things like an executive summary, their dependencies, their deliverables. Within their detailed planning, now down to the project level, they've got milestones, tasks, timelines, the team and the resources. They have clear accountability about who owns what. They're able to proactively mitigate risks and issues, including integrated mitigation plans, escalating needs, and tracking risks and issues at a program level and a project level. They can also adapt and refine the changes over time. One of the nice things about Hammerhead is it supports program functionality out of the box. So they can roll up their corporate strategy and their programs. They can drive better solutions. They understand the timeline and the budget behind the program. And finally, at a communication level, they can communicate wins. They can share owner updates for their different properties. They can give executives in the business updates. Teams have the ability to update in a single platform. They can escalate issues and risks, as well as upcoming deliverables that are coming up. So within their current framework, they use the Project Online and Hammerhead solution to drive change based off of how they operate as a business. And finally, they are leveraging the Hammerhead technology, which is unique, a Projility technology that plugs into Project Online to improve collaboration, to provide better insight and control into the data. It's a PPM data warehouse for all their program-related information, and to drive better efficiency. Instead of having their project managers update spreadsheets and Word documents and email those around, they have to schedule updates into the system and drive reports out of the back end to do trending and analytics and dashboards right out of the Hammerhead and Project Online solution. So it's really an integrated solution that brings everything on their program together. So the results, if you're looking at implementing a PPM solution to better manage your programs, there's really 4 core components. You're going to find better value around governance and putting consistent procedures, processes, and governance and controls so people are following the same processes, so you can do better strategic and tactical governance as you go through the operation of your program. You're going to have better management of the information, better management of the projects within the program, better decision making across the entire project, and the ability to do better execution Everybody is planning and tracking their information in one system. They've got consistent templates and tools. The reporting is consistent, and the metrics are consistent, whether it's end metrics for success or project-related metrics. What are we getting out of a specific project? And finally, it'll support an easier transition into operations. As you deploy new applications or procedures or new functionality across your business or your IT organization, that's going to transition more easily because it's all in a central repository to IT service management, to business operations and operation management. So really the results you can see with PPM are governance related, management related, execution, and finally transition. So if you are using the Project Online solution today, one of the things we do offer at Partnergility is we do have online training that is available by making us your partner of record. So if you're using it today and you'd actually like to get access to our training library, we recently launched this, you need to go through a standard process of making us your partner of record. And if you do that, if you want to email us at info@partnergility.com, partner of record training, we'll get you signed up for that. There's just a couple of key steps, but it's an online training library specifically for your project managers to get them better at using the Microsoft Project Professional client with your enterprise environment. So feel free to reach out to us if you're interested in learning more about that. And we do have, again, the pre-built solution called Hammerhead that provides a PPM data warehouse that synchronizes with Project Online, a series of best practice dashboards and reports, both in Power BI and SQL reporting services, the support for the SharePoint intake or the project ideation process, and any lists you create in SharePoint are all reportable in the data warehouse. And again, out-of-the-box support for programs, portfolios, resources, and projects. If you'd like more information, if you just email us at info@partnergility.com, attention to Hammerhead, we'll get you that information. And really look to us as your strategic, trusted partner. If you're going through an evaluation of PPM technology, you're looking to pilot it, you're looking to enhance it or take it to the next level, we do have a dedicated support organization that can actually support your existing instance of Project Online as well, called Expert Care. So think of us as everything around EPM, PPM related. You can email us at info@partnergility.com, and hopefully you can join one of the next webinars we have. Stop the PowerPoint Madness. We're going to have another series coming up in the fall. Again, if you go to vimeo.com, search for Partnergility, you'll be able to find all of those there. So at this point, we're going to actually stop the presentation and open the floor to question and answer. I'm going to pull this up here in a second. Okay. And I'm going to enable Meeting IM. Go to our Q&A window here. And